Hey guys, what's going on? If you're new here, welcome. My name is BrittanyNichole, and today I'm doing a tutorial on this pretty little look right here using the PUR X RawBeautyKristi palette. So if you haven't seen this palette yet, you must be living under a rock. This is the palette that broke the internet, but this is a palette that RawBeautyKristi collaborated with PUR on, and it is beautiful. Huge spoiler alert, I'm obsessed with it. If you guys don't follow me on Instagram, give me a follow. I've already posted a couple of looks I've done. I've been playing with this palette for 5 days. I really like to kind of understand a palette, play with a palette, and that goes for all makeup that I get and kind of review on here and do tutorials on before I jump on here and talk about it. But this formula is absolutely stunning. The shadows somehow magically blend into themselves without you really having to put any work into it. It's truly amazing. But if you haven't seen it yet, it's a double-sided palette, so there's a more neutral side and it has a mirror, and then there's a more colorful side on the other side, which is awesome for those days you want to kind of step outside of the box, and that side also has a mirror. We're using one shadow from the neutral side and then a couple of shadows from the colorful side, and that's how we get this look today. As always, I'm filming in natural light, so if you're new to my channel, hello, welcome, thank you for being here. I film all my videos in natural light, and what I mean by that is I'm sitting in front of 3 large windows, and that is it. No studio lighting whatsoever, because I want you to see my makeup on camera how you would see it if you were to see me walking around in person. With that said, it's been kind of a weird day. It's been very rainy and cloudy, and now it's really sunny. So I did set my settings to automatics. The light might change a little bit throughout the video, but you know what? I think that's a sacrifice we can all make for seeing what the makeup actually looks like. So with all of that said, congratulations, Kristi. I love you. I think you're hilarious. I want to be your best friend. You made such a stunning palette, and I cannot wait to see if you're going to collaborate with another brand, what that's going to be, because girl, you set the bar high with this one. So with all that said, if you are interested in seeing how I got this pretty little look right here, go ahead and keep watching. So real quick, if you guys don't know my history with colorful shadow, I don't like to go in with a ton of colors at once. That just starts to look really, really heavy on my already kind of heavy lids. And I don't say that in a negative way. I love my eyes. I have no problems with them, but they're hooded. And when I go in with too much shadow, I mean, if it's colorful or not colorful, it just looks really heavy really quickly. So I try to avoid that. So I'm not trying to grab every single shadow in the palette at once and throw that all on my eyes. I'm really mainly just gonna focus on Tribute, Side Effect, and then I'm gonna add a little bit of Cafe Disco. I also might flip over to the neutral side and grab a little bit of Move Point to kind of blend everything out, but I think I wanna go for like a purpley, pinky kind of ethereal look. I'm also a very natural makeup wearer, so I typically wouldn't go out with a whole bunch of one of these shadows packed onto my lid. That's just not my personal style. So I'm gonna kind of sheer it out a little bit and make it a little more wearable, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna start out with Move Point right here, and I'm just gonna lightly dip into that color and flick off the excess. This is a very pigmented palette. You do not need to ram your brush into this palette at all. The shadows are very, very soft, so there will be a little bit of kick up. You could see that right here. I have no issues with that whatsoever. I talked about this with the Anastasia Subculture palette. I just kind of change my technique when I get used to a palette. I've been playing with this palette. I'm gonna start to apply the shadow as I talk about this. I've been playing with this palette for about 5 days now. By the way, this is what I'm using to kind of build out my crease. So I have a compact. If you have hooded deep set eyes like me, grab your compact, hold it down, and look down into the compact. So I have it down low like that. That way I could see where my crease is. This eye is a lot puffier than this eye for some strange reason. That's just how I'm made. So it's kind of hard to like fake the crease in this one. So I like to do the eye that I'm comfortable with first and then mimic it on the other eye. So I'm just taking Move Point, and I'm very lightly going to add that into my crease. That's the other thing about these shadows. They spread so far. So before you dip back into the shadow, make sure you kind of spread the shadow where you want it to go, because trust me, there's probably enough on your brush before you dip in for more. It's like a magical palette. I love it. Like I was saying, I've been playing with it for 5 days now. The other thing is I'm holding, sorry, I always want to teach as I talk, but I'm holding at the bottom of my brush, so I have a very, very light touch. I'm barely even grazing my skin. I like to build up. I don't want to go in with like full pigment right away. Sometimes I see those videos on Instagram where people just like pack it on and then blend it out, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, that seems like so much work. That must take ages, when you could just really, really lightly go in and then slowly build it up. So anyway, like I was saying, I've been playing with the palette for about 5 days now. I absolutely love it. I think it's stunning. The shadows literally melt into each other. George is snoring, if you can hear that. George is my French bulldog. He's right there snoring like a lawnmower. I hope that's not annoying you too much, but these shadows are just magical. They blend like a dream. They blend right into each other. It's like you just have to tap them. You'll see as I go in with the purple and I'm adding a little bit more of Mousse Point, making sure to tap it off. But you'll see when I go in with the purple and pink shades, I really just have to tap them onto each other and they just blend out. It's amazing. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and take a large blending brush. This is from Sigma Practic. It's called the Large Blend Brush. And I'm gonna just kind of start to blend the top of the edge, just so everything looks really nice and kind of seamless. And notice how I'm blending out like this. I'm holding my brush out. I'm not holding it down like this, because that will remove the little tiny bit of shadow we just applied to kind of create the crease. That's something that I always see people do online. I see them blend like this, and it just completely kind of picks up on the side of the brush, and then it removes that pigment. So you just kind of like eliminate the work you did. So something to keep in mind as you go to blend. And again, I'm just really, really lightly touching my skin. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and go in with Side Effect, and I'm gonna take a Smith 247 to do this. This is kind of like a pinched blending brush. The MAC 217 works as well. I want this because I find when I go in with like a flat brush, something like a MAC 239, where are you? Okay, I don't know where my MAC brush is, but something like this, it packs too much pigment for me because this is so pigmented. And like I said, I like more of a kind of natural, like casual, colorful look. So going in with a blending brush will just kind of diffuse the color a little bit more, which is what I like. But if you wanted full pigment, all you would need to do is tap once into the shadow and you will basically get full pigment because it is that pigmented. It's truly amazing. So going in with Side Effect, I'm just gonna kind of start to build. I mean, this is with a blending brush and just a tiny bit of product. It's so awesome. But I'm just gonna kind of start to build the outer corner, and then I'm gonna kind of pull it inwards. And then I'll do the same thing on the inner corner. So we're kind of doing like a halo-ish eye, but not really. I might have to grab a little bit of a smaller brush for my super inner corner because that's kind of hard for me to get to. This might work. Same thing, I'm kind of packing the color in and then pulling it. And again, as I get up into that crease area, I'm lifting the ferrule so I'm not blending that pigment that I just put down away. And I'm not trying to leave the center completely blank. I do want some pink on there, and we're gonna top it off with Cafe Disco. But I just want it a little lighter there. And always keep in mind where you place your brush down first after you dip into the color is where there's gonna be the most saturation of pigment. So I'm not trying to have it most saturated like on the outer corner or the inner. I'm trying to put that right in the middle so I can then blend it out. So I dip and then I press down basically right in that area, and then I start to kind of pull it in. Okay, so now that I have that base down, I'm gonna go ahead and go into Tribute, which is the purple shade in the palette, and I'm grabbing that on a Sigma E33. This is the Detailed Diffuse Crease Brush. I really like this because it's really nice and small, which is what I'm looking for. So I'm gonna lightly dip into that, and again, it's just crazy how these basically blend themselves together. It's nutty. So I'm gonna, again, place this on the outer corner area, but not totally on the outer corner area, because what we just laid down with Side Effect is gonna kind of provide like the blend we need. I hope that makes sense what I'm saying when I like press it down kind of in the middle, because you want like the deepest color in the center and then you want it like blended out on either side. It makes sense in my head. I hope I'm articulating that correctly, but I'm just gonna kind of place this down and deepen everything. They just blend so nicely. It's crazy. The other thing that's really cool about this palette is when you're working with pressed pigments, a lot of the time when you build color on top of color, it doesn't adhere for some strange reason. That was the whole, like, again, I keep referencing the Anastasia Subculture palette. That was the whole debacle with that. That was a pressed pigment shadow or eyeshadow palette. You had to be careful with how you applied it. With this, you don't. There is no patchiness. I played with every single shade over the last 5 days. I love absolutely every single one of them. They all blend amazingly. I'd say I had a little bit of staining on the lash line with Side Effect when I was playing with that one day, but it wasn't anything crazy at all. Not at all. A lot of times I'm sensitive to stuff like that, and I wasn't at all, so I really like the palette. And again, I'm just tapping here, right? Like, I'm barely blending anything, and it does the work for you. It's amazing. So then I'm gonna grab my Smith 247, jump into a little bit more of Side Effect, but really, really knock that off. In all honesty, I probably didn't even need to dip. And I'm just gonna pull that in a little bit more. Beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing on this eye. All right, so I evened out this eye, and I accidentally grabbed the Morphe M433 to pack on color on this side instead of whatever other brush I was using, and it seemed to pack on the color a little bit more in a way that I liked. So, oh, what a cute dog. I always get distracted. I, again, film in natural light, so it's 3 large windows in front of me, and everyone's walking their dog right now since there's a break in the rain, and I see a dog and I just stop talking to the camera and have to look at the dog. But anyway, rant over. I'm gonna jump into Side Effect with the Morphe M433, and it just seems to pack on the color a little bit better, so I kind of just want to do a little bit of that to deepen it up like I did on this side. And again, I'm like not even blending, I'm just like tapping and it's blending. I know I sound like a broken record, but it's just crazy to have a palette like that. And then I'm just grabbing Moo Point once again. I think that is like the prettiest bridal mauve-y pinky tone ever. I'm grabbing that on a Real Techniques brush, and I'm just gonna throw that right in this area to kind of deepen that as well. Okay, I think it's worth mentioning as well, there is no fallout on my under eyes at all. Not a single speck of fallout. It's crazy, and I haven't gotten any fallout whatsoever with the matte shades at all. I do get a little bit of fallout though with the shimmers, which always happens, especially with me. Again, I think having hooded eyes, the brow kind of hits it and it kind of falls down, and I don't use a glitter glue or anything like that. The other thing with specifically Cafe Disco, when I go in with my finger with this one, this is such a creamy, reflective, buttery, beautiful, like pink iridescent. It's beautiful. If I was to take this and pack it right on my eyelid, it would be too much concentration for what I'm looking for this look. I'm just trying to wipe my finger off so I don't end up stamping that on my face somewhere, but I find I like using a brush a little bit better with a little bit of spray. Do I want to go in with a little bit of spray? Let's try not going in with a little bit of spray first. I just want a little bit of a wash of this kind of all over. I'm not gonna only put this on the center, I'm gonna put it on the inner corner as well. I'm just using a Sigma medium sweeper, and that might be why I follow it as well, because I'm, you know, using a brush with this, but I am gonna kind of start right there, but I just want this to kind of highlight the center and the middle as well. I just want this like pretty like iridescent moment with this look. That's just kind of like the vibe I get, and having this shadow to like top it off really creates that look. These shimmers are so beautiful in the sunlight. Oh, it is so pretty, especially the one on the other side, Golden Ticket. Oh, so pretty. So anyway, I'm just kind of tilting my head back again and making sure I get that kind of all the way up to my orbital bone where it like naturally kind of creases in, and then the inner corner as well. And I just think leaving the center not as pigmented as the outer corner and the inner corner just gives it a little extra something that I like. All right, so originally I wasn't gonna bring any of the shimmer into like the darker area on the outer third, but I think I wanna go ahead and do that. So I'm just gonna take a little bit more of Cafe Disco and stamp that a little bit on that area. I'm gonna leave like the outer area still matte, but I just really like how that reflects. And in all honesty, if I wanted to, I could even take like a deep purple shimmer shade from a different palette and deepen that up, but I just wanted to work with this palette for today. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop off here and do the rest of my makeup. I'll leave all those makeup details down below, and then I'll come back here and we'll finish up the lower lash line together, and that really kind of pulls everything in. All right, makeup's done. I was gonna throw on some false lashes, but then I decided I just didn't want to. I'm way too lazy for that today. So I just went in with my Thrive Cosmetics liquid lash extensions. I don't curl my lashes before I do falsies, so I didn't. And I decided midway through the mascara I wasn't gonna wear them, so I'll curl them later. I know it's not great to curl after you do mascara, but you know what? Life is life. I did go in with faux freckles as well in honor of Kristi. She's a faux freckle queen. I have a whole tutorial on how I do my very natural faux freckles. I like to put them all over rather than just one section so it really looks natural. But let's go ahead and finish up the lower lash line, and basically just gonna follow what we did on the upper lash line minus the glitter. I'm not a big fan on my eyes of glitter on the lower lash line. I did throw my highlight, again, that'll be listed down below, in the inner corner, so I might bring that in a little bit more, but I'm basically just gonna go in with Tribute and Side Effect. I'm probably gonna start mostly with Side Effect and take it from outer corner to inner corner, and then I'll go in with Tribute and do the same. So starting out with Side Effect on a ColourPop E10, I'm gonna look up, and I'm basically connecting from outer corner, like connecting right to the upper outer corner, and then blending in. I'm not gonna smoke this out too much. And as I get closer to the inner corner, it's hard to see on camera, but I basically taper in as I get closer to the inner corner so it's less blown out. Honestly, I don't even feel like I need to go in with Tribute to deepen it, but let's just see how it looks. Try to focus that mainly on the outer corner. A little bit of mascara. Mascara is on. I'm just gonna take a clean MAC 222 and make sure these outer edges are blended. Sometimes when I go in and apply my lower lash line shadow, I like to just kind of blend this out to make sure it's really seamless. All right, you guys, so that is it for this one. This is the completed look. I think it is so pretty. It's so fun. It's colorful, but it's still wearable. I always say if I'm comfortable wearing this out, I'm sure you will, because I know a lot of you are kind of like me and you're a little more toned down. All we used really were the two main shades, Tribute and Sidekick, and then we topped it off with Cafe Disco. Couldn't get easier, and like I said, this is how I make bright palettes, bright shadows work for me. So I hope you give it a try. I hope you're able to pick up the palette, or you can get it in the restock. It's truly a beautiful palette if you haven't gotten that from the video already. It blends really nicely. I love the fact that there's the neutral side for those neutral days, and of course the colorful side that we mainly played with today when you want to step outside your comfort zone like I did. So thank you so much for watching. If you guys have any questions, as always, please let me know down below. Otherwise, if you're interested in seeing any more videos, please subscribe. It means the world to me, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thanks again. Bye-bye.